Hi, everybody. Welcome to Northern MAGA. I'm your host, Pierre Shields. And today, we're going to take a look at what Amy Klobuchar had to say recently about the American-Canadian relationship in the U.S. Capitol. Let's take a look.
Mr. President, in conclusion, I want to say this. One, thank you to Senator Kaine and Senator Warner, the two senators from Virginia, for their leadership on this important resolution. Senator Wyden, for all of his work, Senator Rand Paul and others who have stood with us, who have stood with capitalism, who have stood with this idea that trade matters and that our country is stronger when we do business and sell our goods across the seas and to our friendly neighbors like Canada. Let me start with Canada as the head of the
Friendly neighbors like Canada. It's really fun that somebody's actually saying something. We don't hear much about it up here in Canada coming from any American politician, so we'll take what we can get, I guess.
Parliamentarian group with Canada. I spent a lot of time working with the
Let's
Canadians.
just back it up a little bit.
Canada as the head of the interparliamentarian group with Canada. I spent a lot of time working with the Canadians. It is one embassy years ago when America was disliked by a lot of countries that displayed on their embassy huge banners that said friend, ally, partner. For so many of our states, they are our biggest trading partner.
We've always been there. We've always been there. We weren't there when you attacked Iraq without cause. We were in Afghanistan. We were there. We weren't in Vietnam, though. Hard to believe what's going on.
They fought alongside us in 2 world wars.
Mm-hmm.
They are our partner in NATO. They worked with us together on supply chains and getting them back working.
Oh, and about everything we hear about, us not putting 5% into our military spending and so on. Do you think that that 5% is a number that Lockheed Martin was counting on? Because, they did build in the past everything that was military for Canada. So that 5% was going directly from Canada to the US, to Lockheed Martin, to Boeing, to those guys. Boeing, remember Boeing who screwed over Bombardier? Interesting. Okay, let's go back a tad.
Worked with us together on supply chains and getting them back working after the pandemic. They are setting new historic goals. Canada is to contribute to our collective defense, planning to triple defense spending over the next decade. So what does this administration do? Slap them with a 35% tariff? And then, just because the president woke up in the morning and didn't like an ad?
35% tariff based on all the fentanyl that we were sending down to the U.S. It's a non-existent issue that was created just... Can't believe it's gone this far. It's actually in the Supreme Court right now. But what are we, 8 months in? I can't believe there's nobody has cojones, nobody can stand up to this regime. Now the price of eggs down yet? Anyway, let's go back a tad. So disappointing.
Then, just because the president woke up in the morning and didn't like an ad that quoted a beloved Republican president, Ronald Reagan, didn't like it, he says, well, I'm going to give him 10% more. Yet this is a country with which we share a trade agreement that this president negotiated.
He negotiated it and called it the best trade deal ever. Biggest, strongest, most perfect, whatever, all the crap he usually says. And now suddenly, he doesn't like it so much. Why? Because of the trade deficit. It's crazy, trade deficit. We're 1/10 the population, and there's a trade deficit. Go figure.
With Mexico and Canada, if you want to make changes, like for dairy or other things, do it in the review of that agreement. Don't do it like this to a neighbor and friend. Secondly, what do these tariffs mean to America, mean to the people in our country? Combined, they've been changed over 100 times. Total chaos. Inflation is up. Manufacturing jobs are down. Small farm bankruptcies are at their highest level in 5 years. And every senator in this chamber has heard from their...
Do you think it's actually Do you think this was part of the plan? All these farms going bankrupt that'll be bought up by in these Wall Street investors. You know, Trump allegedly has made billions of dollars since he's in office. Personally, I mean, I thought that was you couldn't do that as a president. You weren't allowed to, sell gold-plated running shoes and guitars and $100,000 watches and so on. Um, and and your president keeps talking about how inflation is down, how things have never been cheaper, and it's unfortunate. Well, actually, I love how he's been talking about groceries because you can't really fool people that long. They go shopping once a week, maybe twice a week. They know prices are up. They know things are less affordable, less available. Who are you going to believe? Your president or your lying eyes?
Chamber has heard from their beef producers or heard from their soybean farmers what is happening right now. As one of my farmers called it, a perfect storm of ugly. For an individual family.
Beef producers. So he said he was going to help beef producers, and he's given how many billions to Argentina? And now they're going to start importing their beef into the US? Definitely doesn't have the interest of the typical American in mind. Just horrible. When you hire a businessman, businesses aren't there to have any kind of empathy or to help people. Businesses are there to make money. So you hired a businessman. He's making money. Again, are the prices of eggs down? I can't believe people didn't see this coming. Didn't see this coming. I understand that, the Democrats probably just as bad, if not worse, but at least you wouldn't have this. You wouldn't be setting the world on fire and having everybody turn against you. Again.
Form of ugly. For an individual family right now, these tariffs mean a $2,000 tax per family. Tools are up. Audio equipment costs more. This is the effect of this tariff policy on individual families in America. So we can have high-ended debates here, but at home, they're looking at their grocery prices. They're looking at their markets, their family farms that they spent a century. They're the next in line to take it over, drying up. That's what these tariffs are about. Then finally, this president cannot keep abusing his power like this. There is a reason, when you look at the numbers, who supports this resolution. United Steelworkers, International Association of Machinists, North America's Building Trades Unions, the AFL-CIO, the Chamber of Commerce, the National Taxpayers Union, the National Retail Federation have all endorsed this resolution. But unfortunately, with a few exceptions, our friends on the other side of the aisle are just rubber stamping what this president wants. Well, it is time for us to stand up. This vote is about reasserting Congress's constitutional role. Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution gives Congress, not the president, the power to impose tariffs and regulate commerce with foreign nations. We must stand up for American workers, businesses, and consumers, and remind our allies and ourselves that America keeps its word.
America keeps its word. It's going to be a hard time before that trust is back. I mean, the train has left the station. If half of the voting people will vote for somebody like your orange guy, who in my humble opinion, and I think it's objective, standing back and looking at what this guy's been saying for the longest time, how could you trust him? I mean, a convicted felon, multiple times convicted, convicted of grabbing people and so on. I thought it was over when he said, we'll grab women by the pussy like freaking 10 years ago. I remember when the Republicans would be outraged when somebody had a $200 haircut, and that would, disqualify them from being a Republican president. But now it's just, they're so afraid. They're just so afraid of what this guy can say. And this is interesting. when you look at what happens to narcissists as they start going into dementia, there's a path that's followed, a typical path that's followed. I'm not going to tell you what it is. You can look it up. Not on Facebook, though. God, please don't look it up on Facebook. Interesting what's happening. This guy's the nuclear codes. So this has been Pierre Shields for North Omega. This is all just my opinion. Don't need to be too nasty in the comments, though. Pretty cool. We actually have trolls now. So, success. All right, go play outside.